a high-stakes Harris interview and then her Savannah rally, a place that hasn't seen a general election stump speech in such a long time. What's her team's outlook here?
Well, Jose, the Harris team is really looking at a multi-dimensional strategy here in Georgia, their first stop since the Democratic convention last week. You mentioned that high-stakes interview tonight. This is not just the first chance that many Americans will have to hear from this new Harris-Walz ticket, their joint interview, but really the first time they're going to hear extensive questioning of Harris herself since she became the Democratic nominee, albeit under unusual circumstances. There are a lot of people who are still wanting to learn a lot more about what she would do in the Oval Office, how that view might be different from what we've seen in the President Biden's administration over the last 3 years. Now, the other dimension we're talking about is you're going to have another major rally here behind me tonight. These kinds of big rallies we've seen from the Harris-Walz team since they became the Democratic ticket have demonstrated the enthusiasm, the excitement behind their candidacy that has led them to push onto more Republican-leaning turf. And that speaks to the last dimension here. We saw Vice President Harris and Governor Walz yesterday on this bus tour doing some retail campaigning, going into some redder parts of some blue counties here. It's part of a strategy that voters in this part of the state say is really important. Take a listen to what we've been hearing from some of them.
Very excited about Vice President Kamala Harris coming to town. It gives us an opportunity here in Savannah to hear personally from her about her various policies that may impact us right here in Savannah.
She's coming to Savannah, you know, to give her campaign a different structure, you know, and I think that's good.
Well, I'm kind of glad that she's visiting Savannah. I mean, it's great that she would go to Atlanta, too, because of the population mass, right? So she's got to hit all the demographics and make sure. But I'm glad that she's coming to our town, too.
Jose, the Harris campaign says that there haven't been Democratic presidential candidate events in the general election in this part of Georgia, southeast Georgia, since the 1990s. And look, just 4 years ago, yes, President Biden won Georgia, the first Democrat to do so since 1992, but he only made one trip to the state during the 2020 campaign. Obviously, COVID was an extenuating circumstance here. This is the vice president's 7th trip to Georgia just this year, the first since she became, of course, the Democratic nominee.
And Jonathan, meanwhile, Trump and Vance have been on the road trying to focus on the economy this week, but their team has spent a lot of time on defense again, this time over a dispute at Arlington National Cemetery. And we have some new information on that incident.
Yes, Jose. Just to refresh folks a little bit, there was an altercation, an incident at Arlington National Cemetery when former President Trump went earlier this week to lay a wreath and to visit the gravesite of soldiers who were killed in the Abbey Gate bombings on the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. We're hearing from two defense officials that there was physical contact made, that photographer and videographer folks with the Trump team were trying to take images, and an official at Arlington tried to stop them, and they tried to push through that official. There are no charges that are going to be filed. For the most part, the Trump team has tried to downplay this, but J.D. Vance, the former president's running mate, falsely accused Kamala Harris of yelling at Trump about it. Let's take a listen.
Americans lose their lives and not fire a single person is disgraceful. Kamala Harris is disgraceful. We're going to talk about a story out of those 13 brave, innocent Americans who lost their lives. It's that Kamala Harris is so asleep at the wheel that she won't even do an investigation into what happened, and she wants to yell at Donald Trump because he showed up. She can go to hell.
And that's some very hot rhetoric there. Literally, I guess he's saying she should go to hell from J.D. Vance. So, but twisting the story here, rather than a story about former President Trump using the cemetery for political purposes, and we know that right after those images of him were taken, they were posted to his TikTok and other social media accounts in campaign-like videos. Rather than focusing on that or the fact that his team, reportedly pushed into an Arlington National Cemetery official, they are instead trying to turn this into the Democrats yelling at them and telling Kamala Harris where she can go.
Yeah, and Jonathan, the families of those 13 that lost their lives 3 years ago, they've spoken.
Yes, they have. And what they are saying is, well, look, there's obviously not a monolith there, but the families are saying that, Donald Trump was invited. There was obviously a lot of coordination between them and Arlington National Cemetery, in some cases through liaisons. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, got involved in trying to make all of this happen. These families, I think, for the most part, want their family members honored. They invited former President Trump, and I don't think they were looking to turn this into an altercation. They did say, folks I spoke to yesterday said they didn't even know about it until the next day.
Mike Memoli and Jonathan Allen, thank you both so very much. Really appreciate it. So, Misha, let's talk a little bit about politics. An NBC report on the Harris strategy says she and Walz are making a play in Trump territory with, quote, flannel, football, and pheasants. What does this tell you about the campaign's playbook?
It says that they know that they are getting under Donald Trump's skin and they're not going to stop. The other thing is this campaign is very knowledgeable of the fact that this is going to be an extremely tight race. They know that it's run within the margins and that the importance of peeling away voters within those red districts as well is going to be extremely important. So they are making their way across rural areas. They're also showcasing the alternate narrative for Kamala Harris. You know how several individuals on the right have called her a big city liberal. By going to some of these rural areas, by being open to having conversations across those districts, in addition to showcasing how her plans, policies, and the vision she has for the future also helps them. I think that's huge. To acknowledge that most of these rural areas haven't been visited since the 90s. We're talking about the Bill Clinton era. I think that that's quite frankly really disturbing. And it's very, very strategic that we're seeing this shift, because if the DNC showed us anything, it's that there are voters to pick off. And many of them are going to be in this expansion model that the Kamala Harris team has actually put into place. We have to recognize that there are votes outside of urban centers that need to be received, particularly acknowledging that many of those individuals are the same folks who are aligning on the Swifties for Harris Call. These are the same folks who are aligning around the white men for Harris Call. These are the same folks who are aligning around several of these fundraising and organizing efforts on the ground. Those people need to be touched.
Yeah, I mean, Jennifer, a new Fox poll shows Harris leading Trump with voters over 65, improving on Biden's share, but she still is behind among voters without a degree in rural voters. Trump's support there is about equal to his support in 2020. Are Republicans, do you think, concerned Harris could, in fact, be picking off those important voting blocks?
Well, they certainly should be, because that's exactly what she's doing, and we see the proof of that in the data. I think we see the proof of that in the numbers. Kamala Harris has brought something to this race that I think really has taken a lot of people by surprise. And we're now seeing it now that she's been in long enough to have a few poll cycles go by. My political roots are in New Hampshire, where, retail campaigning is not just respected, it's expected. And when you see Kamala Harris on the ground in these rural communities in place in Georgia, not to mention a lot of other swing states, voters respond to her so positively, so openly. She's making inroads in places that Republicans did not expect her to. And I would suggest that J.D. Vance's feigned anger or disdain or whatever it was is in large part in response to the fact that Kamala Harris is, in fact, picking off those Republican voters one by one.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about that aspect of it, Jennifer. The Trump campaign downplaying the incident at Arlington National Cemetery. This comes after Trump's Medal of Honor comments. For a campaign that touts its support among the military, explain to us what this is, what's going on here?
Well, listen, Donald Trump has a long history of demeaning and denigrating those who have sacrificed their lives on behalf of our country. This is not the first time that we've seen him go someplace that should be a sacred military place of remembrance and try to turn it into a moment about Donald Trump, a campaign moment. As far as, and we're going to continue to see it. We know that that is a part of the narcissism that, completely consumes him. But it just shows his total lack of disrespect for those who served, those who have sacrificed. And frankly, the way that J.D. Vance responded is more of the same. Instead of addressing the issue and addressing what actually happened, he tried to turn what should have been a moment about the 13 American soldiers who gave it all for us. He turned it into something about yelling at Kamala Harris and trying to, send her to hell. Completely inappropriate and disrespectful of what the topic of the conversation should have been about.
Yeah, and Amisha, what should that topic of conversation been about, and where do you see moments where politics in general has gotten so ugly, and there's so many times that we hear, words that normally we shouldn't or we hadn't heard in the political arena. I'm just wondering, is that something, Amisha, that just can't be avoided because of who's in the campaign trail?
First and foremost, I think that when we're talking about anything dealing with the military and fallen servicemen and women, the honor needs to go to those servicemen and women who are the utmost of patriots. That's not what we saw. That's not what Donald Trump is known for. That's not what his brand is. This is a guy who makes fun of POWs. This is a guy who skipped military service himself, not 1, 2, but 3+ times. This is a guy who likes to make fun of those who have been disabled from the military. This is a guy who does not believe that people who died in military service are worthy of honor. So I think that there is a lot here that needs to be unpacked. But beyond that, to expect there not to be violent rhetoric, to expect there not to be insidious language, to expect there not to be racism, anti-woman commentary, to expect there not to be anti-immigrant commentary, to expect there not to be this flagrant abuse of not only power, but also leadership from a guy who has shown from day one that he does not care about anybody but himself, but also that he does not respect any of the ideals of the democracy that we all live in. It's problematic, but I think that that is not a result of the political era as much as it is a result of the Republican Party amplifying Donald Trump. And now they're stuck with him. They had multiple chances to get rid of the man, and they latched on so hard. This is who they have, and this has become their brand. You're not going to escape from Donald Trump until you get rid of Donald Trump. The Republican Party has to walk away from him.
And Jennifer, just your thoughts on RFK Jr. RFK Jr. when he announced his support for former President Trump, talked about team of rivals. How do you think that team of rivals attitude will play with Republican voters?
Well, first, if I could very quickly, I just want to refer back to and highlight what was just said.
Absolutely.
This is not just about Donald Trump. This is about the GOP. It's about the party itself. When J.D. Vance told Kamala Harris to go to hell, the crowd of Republican voters behind him cheered wildly. So this is, I don't blame Donald Trump. I blame the party for embracing him and lifting him up the way that they have. As for RFK and this, unity ticket or this, union of rivals or, however they're trying to brand it, I don't think he really is going to bring anything valuable to the table. I think that they're trying awfully hard. It's kind of looking and sounding desperate when they're looking at the players like RFK and Tulsi Gabbard as being the great example of unity. And you can't forget the fact that RFK's name is going to be on the ballot in a number of states, including places like Wisconsin and Michigan. And he's going to end up undermining Donald Trump in some very important states, regardless of the fact that he has dropped out.
Amisha Cross and Jennifer Horn, thank you both so much for being with us this morning. Appreciate it. And breaking news this morning, new data presents a fresh look at the U.S. economy. U.S. GDP grew at an annual rate of 3% for the second quarter of this year. That beats the previous estimate of 2.8%. And it's up from the 1.4% increase in the first quarter. Joining us now is NBC's Christine Romans. Christine, what do these numbers tell us this morning?
It tells us that the economy was actually strengthening in, April, May, and June, stronger and more resilient than anyone really expected. The consumer driving a lot of this, the consumer irritated by high prices, but still spending, maybe changing how they're spending, what they're spending on, but still driving the economy. And also inside these numbers, Jose, really important here, private business investment, very strong, showing showing optimism about the overall economy, optimism about corporate profits. It's kind of an interesting moment when you're 9 or 10 weeks ahead of the election, when so many people say they don't feel great about the economy, when you see it still moving along here strongly. One economist telling me today this is a U.S. economy firing on all cylinders. And we're heading into a new phase where the Federal Reserve is expected to start cutting interest rates gradually starting in September. That'll be a little bit of relief for American families on many of their bills of borrowed money. So an interesting new moment here where the U.S. economy is still quite resilient, the Fed heading into a new phase here overall. And one wonders if consumer sentiment starts to improve as we head into the fall. We had a consumer confidence number this week that showed confidence at a 6-month high and expectations about inflation falling. So maybe finally that so-called vibe session is starting to break here. But certainly the underlying economy, even as it's front and center in so many voters' minds heading into the election, and you're going to be hearing a lot about it on the campaign trail, you've got stocks near record highs and a U.S. economy that is beating expectations, essentially. Jose.
Christine Romans, thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Next, new details from the FBI about the Trump rally shooter, what he searched for online, and is it any clearer what his motive was? Plus, a scare in the skies as turbulence forces a United flight to make an emergency landing with multiple people hurt. We're back in 90 seconds.
The future is not just going to happen. You have to make it. And if you want a successful business, all it takes is an idea. And now becomes a future where you grew a dream into a reality. The all-new GoDaddy Aero. Put your business online in minutes with the power of AI.
We planned well for retirement, but I wish we had more cash.
Do you think those two have any idea?
That they can sell their life insurance policy for cash, so they're basically sitting on a gold mine? I don't think they have a clue.
That's crazy.
Well, not everyone knows Coventry has helped thousands of people sell their policies for cash, even term policies.
I can't believe they're just sitting up there.
Sitting on all this cash.
If you own a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, you can sell all or part of it to Coventry, even a term policy, for cash or a combination of cash and coverage with no future premiums.
Someone needs to tell them that they're sitting on a gold mine and you have no idea. Hey guys, you're sitting on a gold mine. Come on, guys.
Do you hear that?
I don't hear anything anymore.
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-459-2600 or visit coventrydirect.com.
I own a lot of businesses, so my tech and my network need to keep up. Thank you, Verizon Business.
Now our businesses get fast and reliable internet from the same network that powers our phones.
So whatever's next, we're cooking with fire.
Switch to the partner businesses rely on.
19 past the hour. New details this morning about the man who came within millimeters of taking former President Trump's life. According to the FBI, the shooter searched for information on both the Republican and Democratic national conventions before the assassination attempt, with law enforcement suggesting that the Trump event was, quote, a target of opportunity. They also, however, released these new pictures you're seeing on your screen of the shooter's weapons. Joining us now is NBC's Ryan Nobles. Ryan, good morning. What more are we learning about this shooter?
Well, Jose, it's important to keep in mind that since the shooting, the director of the Secret Service has resigned. Multiple officials have been put on leave in what the agency's called a mission failure. What the FBI has found is that there's no evidence right now that Thomas Crooks was working with anyone else as he meticulously planned his attempt to assassinate former President Trump. What they still have yet to figure out, though, is why.
In the weeks leading up to Donald Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th, the FBI says Thomas Crooks was scouring the internet for information on upcoming political events.
In the 30 days prior to the attack, the subject conducted more than 60 searches related to President Biden and former President Trump.
Crooks was searching for information on both the Republican and Democratic national conventions. He also searched for details on the Trump event, which took place close to where he lived. The FBI describes Crooks' planning as a, quote, sustained, detailed effort. Initially, Crooks' search history showed him looking for details around a wide range of political events before zeroing in on the Butler rally, which the FBI believes Crooks viewed as a target of opportunity. They also believe he acted alone.
I want to be clear.
we have not seen any indication to suggest Crooks was directed by a foreign entity to conduct the attack.
But these discoveries have not provided much insight into Crooks's motive. The content on his accounts displayed a, quote, mixture of ideologies. The investigators also shared photos of the collapsible barrel on the gun Crooks used, as well as the backpack they found on site. They also showed the AC unit he used to climb on the roof. They believe he spent a little more than 6 minutes on the roof before being killed by counter-sniper fire.
Right here, flat on the roof!
The FBI probe is one of many investigations into the assassination attempt. Earlier this week, members of the bipartisan congressional task force toured the site in Pennsylvania, promising to get to the bottom of what went wrong.
I definitely took note today that there were a lot of lines of sight that appear to have been unsecured that day, that didn't have eyes on or that weren't secured, and certainly at this point, a lot more questions than answers.
And the FBI said that the alleged shooter's family is cooperating with their investigation, as is former President Trump, who's already participated in an in-depth briefing. Jose?
Ryan Nobles, thank you. And joining us now is Carol Leonnig, Washington Post, national reporter. Carol, it's always great seeing you. Hey, Carol, you know, based on your reporting, how often is it that a presidential assassin doesn't have a clear political motive?
A great question, Jose. Unfortunately, over the course of history, a lot of people who tried to assassinate presidents or tried to assassinate a prominent political official didn't have the motive that most Americans assumed they would, that they disliked the candidate. You know, Ronald Reagan was shot by John Hinckley Jr., who had no political motive at all. His motive was to get the attention and the affection of a movie actress that he had fallen in love with named Jodie Foster, if people remember that. The man who tried to kill George Wallace, a candidate for president back in the 70s, and actually later as well, he was a man named Arthur Bremer, very similar to John Hinckley, very disaffected, isolated young man who was trying to basically become a little famous, get attention and get affirmation. He'd had a lot of bad experiences in school, being bullied. He'd had a bad childhood and trouble with a girlfriend who had just broken up with him, very similar to Hinckley. The Secret Service has conducted an extensive psychological profiling, essentially, of people who tried to kill presidents and tried to kill other senior vice presidents or senior political officials. And what they found was these people overwhelmingly are not motivated by politics. They're motivated by an internal disaffection, isolation, and a need to feel important.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, like, that would be perfectly describing, like, you know, Gerald Ford, right? I mean, it was one of the Manson family people who try to kill him. Carol, we just heard in Ryan's reporting that the FBI has not seen any indication to suggest the shooter was, quote, directed by a foreign entity to conduct the attack. There's no indication that he worked with co-conspirators. How difficult is it to find these people when they could be just operating at random by themselves?
You know, what's interesting about that, Jose, is that many of these individuals are acting by themselves. I mean, there are a lot of conspiracy theories that have circulated over the years about different would-be assassins and assassins. The most prominent conspiracy theories encircle Lee Harvey Oswald and the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Few people entirely embrace the official version of events, which is that he acted alone with one gun from a high building in Dallas and killed Kennedy. Many people think that he had a political motive or that he may have been set in motion by someone else with a political goal. But there's no evidence of this certainly after all these years. There's been no evidence that clearly explains that there was somebody else behind Lee Harvey Oswald. There are, I have to say, some circumstantial pieces of evidence that are interesting. You know, he met with some Cubans before the assassination. There were other individuals who wanted Kennedy killed. But oftentimes, especially in these recent events, Jose, conspiracy theories are just that, internet rumor without any basis in fact.
Yeah, I would kind of think out loud that maybe the JFK assassination would be in a whole different category than all of the other ones that we've been just talking about. There's a lot there to look into. But, Carol Leonnig, it's always great to see you. I thank you very much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Up next, what a CIA official says about Ukraine's plans for its forces inside Russia, plus the growing fallout from Israel's largest raid on the West Bank in 20 years. We'll be right back. You're watching Jose Diaz-Balart Reports on MSNBC.
Recipes. Recipes that are more than their ingredients. Recipes written by hand and lost to time can now be analyzed and restored using the power of Dell AI, preserving memories and helping to write new ones.
You'll find them in cities, towns, and suburbs all across America. Millions of Americans who have Medicare and Medicaid, but may be missing benefits they could really use. Extra benefits they may be eligible to receive at no extra cost. And if you have Medicare and Medicaid, you may be able to get extra benefits too through a Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan. Call now to see if there's a plan in your area and to see if you qualify. All of these plans include doctor, hospital, and prescription drug coverage, plus something really special, the Humana Healthy Options Allowance, your allowance to help pay for essentials like eligible groceries, utilities, and rent, even over-the-counter items. And whatever you don't spend gets carried over to the next month. Plus, with the Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan, you'll get other important benefits. All of these plans include dental coverage with 2 free cleanings a year, plus fillings and a yearly exam. Vision coverage, including eye exams and a yearly allowance for eyewear. And hearing benefits, including routine hearing exams and coverage toward hearing aids. You'll also get free rides to and from medical appointments. Best of all, you'll pay nothing for covered prescriptions, even brand name ones, all year long. And $0 for many routine vaccines at in-network retail pharmacies. Plus, you'll have access to Humana's large networks of doctors and specialists. So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call now to see if there's a plan in your area that will give you extra benefits, including an allowance to help pay for essentials, plus no cost for covered prescriptions, and coverage for routine dental, vision, and hearing. A knowledgeable, licensed Humana sales agent will explain your coverage options and, if you're eligible, help you enroll over the phone. It's that easy. Call today, and we'll also send this free guide. Humana, a more human way to health care.
Starting a business is never easy, but starting pregnant, that's a different story. With the Chase Ink card, we got up and running in no time.
Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase with the Chase Ink Business Unlimited card from Chase for Business.
Okay, Limu, you said it. Then as I spike it, I'll tell them how Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance, so they only pay for what they need. Got it? Did you get that? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Why do couples choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can it keep me warm when I'm cold?
Wait, no, I'm always hot.
Sleep Number does that.
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Sleep Number does that. Your ideal firmness and effortless comfort all night.
Can it help us sleep better and better?
Please.
Sleep Number does that. 9 out of 10 couples report better sleep. During our biggest sale of the year, the Queen Sleep Number C2 Smart Bed is only $9.99. Plus, get free delivery when you add any base. Shop now at a Sleep Number store near you.
Skating for over 45 years has taken a toll on my body. I take Cunol turmeric because it helps with healthy joints and inflammation support. Why Cunol? It has superior absorption compared to regular turmeric. Cunol, the brand I trust.
Custom Ink helps us motivate our students with custom gear. We love how Custom Ink takes care of everything we need so we can focus on the kids.
We make it easy to wow all your groups with high-quality custom apparel, accessories, and promo products, all backed by our guarantee at customink.com.
Now let's go to Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz.
These guys are just weird. Robber barons like J.D. Vance and Donald Trump gutted the Midwest.
Your first reaction to the choice of Tim Walz?
Democrats were deflated. Now, game is on.
I think this race is going to get even more interesting.
Morning Joe, weekdays from 6 to 10 on MSNBC.
31 past the hour as Israel presses ahead with their largest operation in the occupied West Bank in more than 20 years. The Israeli military is now saying a well-known local commander was among 5 militants killed after having, quote, hidden inside a mosque. The sweeping raids began early Wednesday morning, prompting international alarm as world leaders, including the U.S., try to stop a potential wider regional conflict. Palestinian health officials say that at least 11 people have been killed. And now turning to the latest in Russia, the Russian Foreign Ministry adding to its growing list of Americans banned from entering the country, announcing yesterday that 92 U.S. citizens, including journalists from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and the Washington Post, would no longer be allowed entry. Meanwhile, as the war in Ukraine rages on, CIA Deputy Director David Cohen at a security conference on Wednesday highlighted Ukraine's recent incursion into Russia as a success, noting the Ukrainians seem intent on retaining recently gained Russian territory for some amount of time. NBC's Aaron McLaughlin joins us from Kyiv. Aaron, the CIA Deputy Director highlighted this Ukrainian successes going into parts of Russia. What more did he have to say about plans moving forward?
Yeah, well, he also talked about, Jose, just how difficult it would be for the Russians to retake their own territory. And that was echoed in a conversation that I had with a Ukrainian military analyst. And he was telling me that really comes down to the topography of the Kursk region, the fact that it borders Ukraine, and then it has a very large river, creating sort of another natural border for the Ukrainians. And we saw just last week the Ukrainians blowing up bridges over that river, making it that much more difficult for Russia to send in reinforcements, to send in supplies. And this Ukrainian military analyst estimated that Russia would need 2 to 3 divisions to reclaim the Kursk territory, given that topography is in favor of Ukraine's and their Ukrainian occupation. Keep in mind, Ukraine says it does not want to continue to occupy Russian territory, but it does want to see Russia leave its land. Simultaneously, of course, you have the situation there in the Donbass where Russia's pushing forward with its offensive, steadily gaining ground on that strategic Ukrainian town of Pokrovsk. In the words of one Western intelligence official, this is essentially a game of who blinks first. Neither side can really afford to be pushing forward in this way. It becomes a question of who diverts their forces first. And of course, at this point, a senior Western intelligence officer told me that there is no sign of the Russians moving to divert forces in the Donbass. And then there's no sign, according to a commander I was just speaking to, a Ukrainian commander I was just speaking to on the ground there in Kursk, of the Ukrainians pulling back. If anything, he said that the Ukrainians are in the process of gaining ground in the Russian territory of Kursk. Jose.
Aaron McLaughlin, thank you very much. Next, a scare in the air. Turbulence forces an emergency landing for one United flight that left multiple people injured. Plus, are you taking to the skies or hitting the roads for the holiday this weekend? AAA is expecting the busiest labor travel weekend ever. How you can prepare. And with millions out and about, new mounting fears of mosquito-borne illnesses. What experts say you need to know. Next.
Mom jeans. She passed them down to you. But who passed them to her? Those mom genes are a big part of you. Ancestry DNA can show you the people and places they came from. Discover the traits you inherited, the places where they started, and the people you share them with. Your genes are one of a kind. Find out why with Ancestry DNA.
With Claritin, relieving your allergies is a walk in the park. Get fast, all-day relief of your worst allergy symptoms, like nasal congestion. Live Claritin Clear.
Since my City Custom Cash Card automatically adjusts to earn me more cash back in my top eligible category, suddenly life's feeling a little more automatic. Like doors opening wherever I go. Even the ground is moving for me. Y'all seeing this? Wild. And I don't even have to activate anything. Ooh, automatic sashimi.
Earn cash back that automatically adjusts to how you spend with the City Custom Cash Card.
Here's to getting better with age.
Cheers to beating these two every Thursday.
Help fuel today with Boost High Protein. Complete nutrition you need and the flavor you love. So here's to now. Now available Boost Max.
With powerful, easy-to-use tools, Power E-Trade makes complex trading easier. React to fast-moving markets with dynamic charting and a futures ladder that lets you place, flatten, or reverse orders so you won't miss an opportunity. E-Trade from Morgan Stanley.
You know, Priceline helps families save up to 60% on family-friendly hotels.
So many great trips, we might just leave here with another vacation baby.
Gross.
Oh, take it easy, Paris. And you too, Fort Lauderdale.
Lisa was in Toledo.
Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Ever worry that you're drinking too much? Take back control with Or Health. Or Health provides access to medication proven to make it easier to drink less or to quit drinking altogether. Qualify for treatment today at orhealth.com.
What's a great place to find affordable luxury for less? There's beautiful linen sheets, there's gorgeous curtains, whatever your style is. The quality for what you get is really substantial, and that's one of the reasons that I've been drawn to this brand.
Get $20 off your first purchase at quince.com.
We always had dogs here like my best buddies. Yep, had them my whole life. Mumbo! So we got him, and he has been an absolute joy. So once we got on the farmer's dog, he just attacks it. It's incredible. They're so tuned into you, and they have such personality. Being without a dog, I don't know. Can't imagine.
The best things in life come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 thumbs up. And now, buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, 2 months free. All with fast, reliable, nationwide coverage. Make the switch today.
Lumino Whitening Toothpaste gives you 3 benefits in 1 toothpaste. Healthy enamel, healthy gums, and white teeth. This is my #1 hack for healthier and brighter teeth and gums. Best toothpaste ever. Find Lumino Toothpaste at a Walmart and Target.
We're excited to do business with you, but before we sign, I gotta ask.
Sure, anything.
We searched you online, and maybe you can explain this?
Can't believe that garbage is still coming in. That is so false.
Frustrated with your online search results? Call Reputation Defender today to join tens of thousands who've improved their online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 1-877-866-8555.
Settlement and I need cash now. Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now.
I am an annuity, but I need cash now.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now.
It's your money. Use it when you need it.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877.
Call 877 cash now to get a $100 gift card for a free quote.
The flight attendant almost hit the ceiling. People were really hurt. We have stains all over our clothes because of food going everywhere. The ceiling is covered with food.
I wasn't sure if we were going down, honestly. It was very scary.
You know, those passengers describing the very scary scene that forced a United flight headed from Cancun to Chicago to make an emergency landing in Memphis yesterday. Tales of yet another travel nightmare as millions of Americans prepare to hit the roads and the skies over the weekend, sneaking in one last summer vacation. TSA expecting to screen about 17 million passengers in the next couple of days, marking a Labor Day travel record as summer comes to a close. NBC's Priscilla Thompson is with us from Houston this morning. Priscilla, good morning. We're going to get to the travel plans in just a minute, but what can you tell us about this emergency landing in Memphis?
Yeah, Jose, very scary moments on board that flight. We know that one person did have to be taken to the hospital after that emergency landing, and there were also 6 other people who were injured and treated on the scene. In all, there were around 182 people, that's passengers and crew members, that were on board that flight going to Chicago from Cancun when it hit that severe turbulence and had to make that emergency landing in Memphis. And so, thankfully, everyone else was okay and was able to walk away from that okay. And thankfully, there were no fatalities or serious injuries. So it does look like everyone is going to be okay, but certainly some scary moments. You heard witnesses describing feeling like the plane was going to go down and just the chaos on board in those minutes as they were experiencing that. Jose?
Now, let's talk about this weekend. What should anyone packing their bags at home right now know before they head out the door?
Well, they should know that they are not alone. We're looking at millions of people who are expected to be taking to the roads and to the skies this weekend. So just expect the delays. Plan to arrive early if you're coming to the airport. If you're going to be on the road, take a look at those travel times. The rule of thumb is sort of to leave in the morning if you can, if you're heading out. And the golden hour for you if you're making your way back is going to be Tuesday afternoon after 1 p.m. if you are planning to hit the road. And important to note that the weather could also be a factor here. So make sure that you're checking your airline apps and also keeping an eye on the road conditions, because we're looking at 6 million people who are under severe weather alerts in the upper Midwest today. And there's also the possibility for some flooding along the Texas and Louisiana coast over this holiday weekend. But the best piece of advice that I can give folks is that no matter what may happen, try to enjoy and soak up these last few days of summer before it's gone. Jose?
Yeah, even if you are stuck in traffic. Priscilla Thompson, thank you. It's great seeing you. If you're planning to spend your Labor Day weekend outside, there are some pretty dangerous mosquito-borne illnesses I need to tell you about. Just this morning, we have new information. Wisconsin health officials announcing 2 people have died after contracting West Nile virus, and 2 other families are speaking out publicly about the dire consequences from West Nile and other mosquito-borne illnesses. Joining us now, NBC's Maggie Vespa with what you need to know. Maggie, good morning. What should be our major concern?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these viruses are rare, health officials say, but obviously we're seeing this sort of like string of severe cases, and the data behind how many cases are actually cropping up total tends to lag behind. So we're going to see kind of that come out a bit later. But Wisconsin health officials just in the last few minutes flagging, yes, 2 deaths in that state. So we're learning about that more as we speak this morning. This as 2 separate families in 2 other states across the country are warning just how deadly these viruses from seemingly normal mosquito bites can be.
This morning, in the peak of summer mosquito season, 2 families are sounding alarms about rare mosquito-borne illnesses and the dangers they pose. In suburban St. Louis, 18-year-old John Proctor VI, known as BB, lies paralyzed in a hospital bed on a ventilator. His father says it started earlier this month when the recent high school graduate complained about headaches and dizziness. Then symptoms escalated.
His speech was slurred. He couldn't raise his arms up and he couldn't smile.
Hospital doctors placing the previously healthy teen in intensive care. The diagnosis, West Nile virus from a mosquito bite, paralyzing him from the neck down. The family praying he'll recover. This as the family of Stephen Perry, a 41-year-old New Hampshire man killed by the rare E virus, speaks out. Writing in his obituary, the director of nursing services and avid Boston sports fan was stricken by a sudden and rare brain infection and died after a week in the hospital. Adding Stephen left those that he loved far too soon. It marks New Hampshire's first reported human case of Eastern equine encephalitis, or EEE, in a decade. 4 other states also reporting cases. The virus is rare but has a mortality rate of approximately 30%, while experts say West Nile is also on the rise. Among those sickened, Dr. Anthony Fauci, hospitalized for a week with the virus, quoted saying he felt like he'd been hit by a truck, adding, "I've never been as sick in my life, ever." In Chicago, pest control company Mosquito Joe is seeing a 20% spike in new customers, fearful after seeing a case reported in neighboring Wisconsin. When people call you, are they mentioning these viruses specifically?
Most of them are. A lot of people say, just come out, just take care of it.
Homeowner April Manhurt had her property sprayed to protect her dog, Charleston.
I think even more than just like concern for myself, also my dog, and there's, you don't know how it affects you until it's too late.
And Jose, again, those 2 deaths in Wisconsin just breaking in the last few minutes here. We've just learned that Wisconsin public health officials plan to hold a media availability this afternoon at 2 Eastern. So we hope to learn more then. Jose.
Maggie Vespa, thank you. Well, the CDC says 6 more people have died in a listeria outbreak linked to Boar's Head deli meat. In all, 9 people have died in the outbreak, and nearly 60 have been hospitalized. The company's recalled more than 7 million pounds of meat and says customers should throw away anything on the full recall list, which is on Boar's Head's website. But there you see some of the meats that we have on your screen. Listeria symptoms include fever, chills, muscle aches, nausea, and diarrhea, and can present weeks after eating contaminated food. The CDC says this outbreak is now the largest from listeria since 2011, when more than 30 people died from contaminated cantaloupe. Next, game, set, match. An update from the U.S. Open. Plus, an historic opening ceremony for the Paralympic Games in Paris. We're live there next.
I own a lot of businesses, so my tech and my network need to keep up. Thank you, Verizon Business.
Now our businesses get fast and reliable internet from the same network that powers our phones.
So whatever's next, we're cooking with fire.
Switch to the partner businesses rely on.
I tried everything for my stubborn dandruff, and then I found Nizoral. Nizoral works differently to get to the root cause of dandruff. In fact, its active ingredient is 10 times more effective at fighting fungus, the primary cause of dandruff. Say goodbye to stubborn dandruff with Nizoral.
Is your shower trying to tell you something? It's time to love your shower again with Jacuzzi Bath Remodel. You can get a beautiful new bath or shower installed in one day. That's right, one day, and at a price you can afford. In fact, there's never been a more affordable time to call than now. With this Love Your Shower sale, we're waiving all installation costs and postponing all payments for up to 1 year, giving you the quality you deserve from a brand you trust at a price that won't break the bank. And when it comes to quality, Jacuzzi has been the most trusted name in water for more than 65 years.
I loved working with the Jacuzzi Design Consultants. They come with a variety of designs to choose from, and there really is an option for everyone.
Oh my gosh, look at the bathtub. Wow. This is amazing. I think we have a happy customer right here.
So listen to what your bathroom is telling you and take it from this to this in one day with no stress and no mess. Or maybe it's trying to tell you something else. If it's the issue, take back your peace of mind. Now is the time to convert your old bathtub into a beautiful, easy entry shower with features like grab bars and a custom seat that combines safety and style. So you'll love taking a shower again. And every transformation features state-of-the-art materials that resist mold and mildew. No grimy grout to scrub. It just rinses clean, so you can spend less time cleaning and more time relaxing, because the only sound your bath should make is this.
Call or go online for a limited time offer. Only weeks left to get waived installation and no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-991-8523. That's 800-991-8523. Call now.
Your memory is an amazing thing, but sometimes it can start to slow down. But did you know Prevagen can help keep your memory sharp? The secret is the powerful ingredient apoaquarin, originally discovered in jellyfish and found only in Prevagen. In a clinical study, Prevagen was shown to improve memory in subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. Stay sharp and improve your memory with Prevagen. Prevagen, in stores everywhere without a prescription.
New projects means new project managers. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/hire and get started today.
Did you know you could remodel your kitchen faster and less expensive than the big box stores? At Cabinets to Go, customize your dream kitchen with custom quality cabinets, countertops, and flooring. So transform your kitchen in weeks, not months, minimizing your downtime. Visit one of our 100-plus showrooms nationwide and get your dream kitchen today for as low as $139 a month at cabinetstogo.com.
Growing your business is easy once you know the moves. With GoDaddy Websites Plus Marketing, you can quickly create a website and AI will customize it for you. Get your business out there and get more customers in here. No sweat. For you anyway. Create a beautiful website in minutes with GoDaddy.
These bills are crazy.
She has no idea she's sitting on a gold mine.
Well, she doesn't know that if she owns a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, she can sell all or part of it to Coventry for cash, even a term policy.
Even a term policy?
Even a term policy!
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-738-1300 or visit coventrydirect.com.
52 past the hour in New York. Some of the biggest names in tennis are working toward the Grand Slam at the U.S. Open's second round of singles matches. Now, last night, Serbian star Novak Djokovic serving a new record as the first man with at least 90 wins in all 4 majors. And 20-year-old phenomenon Coco Gauff shook off a bad start, taking home a win yesterday. They're going to both be back on the court tomorrow for round 3. Meanwhile, the city of Paris lit up last night to host the 4-hour-long opening ceremony for the Paralympic Games. Just like the Olympics opening ceremony, this one also took place outside. You can see, look at these pictures. I mean, just beautiful fighter planes flying overhead, painting the sky with the colors of France's tricolor flag. More than 4,000 athletes are attending there. So did the spirited mascot for the 2024 Games, known as Frige. Joining us now from Paris is NBC News' Emily Ikeda. Emily, great seeing you. So bring us up to speed on yesterday and what's in store next.
Jose, it truly was remarkable. It brought tears to my eyes. The Paralympic cauldron is officially lit. Therefore, the games are officially underway. And it was a show-stopping, spectacular kickoff to what will be historic games. I say historic games because there's a record number of female athletes competing. There's the largest ever refugee Paralympic team, and there's more global media coverage of these games than ever before. We were at the starting point for the athlete procession, and I assure you, it was nothing short of electric. Paris promised another show-stopping opening ceremony and delivered with dancing, fireworks, and even a mascot-covered car to kick off the Paralympic Games. Athletes and fans from more than 150 countries are converging on this historic street, the Champs-Élysées, and take a look at this, Team USA arriving right now. USA! Led by 2 flag bearers, wheelchair basketball's Steve Serio and sitting volleyball's Nikki Nieves.
Everything and anything is possible. Just put your best foot forward.
And making history tonight, the largest ever refugee Paralympic team. Over the next 11 days, 4,400 athletes from around the world will face off across 22 sports. From para-equestrian at Versailles to wheelchair fencing at the Grand Palais. The Eiffel Tower, meantime, trading sand for turf for blind soccer. Played using a ball with bells inside so players can locate it. USA! USA! Among the 225 members of Team USA, legends like swimmer Jessica Long and wheelchair racer Tatiana McFadden, competing at her 7th Paralympics. Team USA's men's
partner businesses rely on.
Ugh, when is my allergies free gonna kick in?
You need Astapro.
Astapro?
It's faster, bro. 8 times faster than Flonase. It's faster, bro.
It's faster, bro!
It's faster, bro.
It's mom to you.
Astapro starts working in 30 minutes. Astapro and Go.
Hi, my name is Damian Clark. And if you have both Medicare and Medicaid, I have some really encouraging news that you'll definitely want to hear. Depending on the plans available in your area, you may be eligible to get extra benefits with the Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. All these plans include a Healthy Options allowance, a monthly allowance to help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items like vitamins, pain relievers, first aid supplies, and more. The Healthy Options allowance is loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend carries over from each month. Other benefits on these plans include free rides to and from your medical appointments. You pay nothing for covered prescriptions all year long. All plans have dental coverage, which includes 2 free cleanings a year, fillings, and a yearly exam. They also have vision coverage, including vision exams and a yearly allowance towards eyewear, such as lenses or contacts, and hearing coverage, which includes routine hearing tests and coverage for hearing aids. You'll also have a $0 copay for the shingles and other routine vaccines at in-network retail pharmacies. Plus, your doctor, hospital, and pharmacy may already be part of our large Humana networks. So call the number on your screen now to speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. Wouldn't you love benefits like a monthly allowance? To help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items. So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call the number on your screen now and speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. If you're eligible, they can even help enroll you over the phone in a Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. So call now. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Your best defense against erosion and cavities is strong enamel. Nothing beats it. I recommend Pronamel Active Shield because it actively shields the enamel to defend against erosion and cavities. I think that this product is a game changer for my patients.
Try Pronamel mouthwash.
Whatever life throws your way, just click through your day.
This bakery needs new equipment fast to keep up with demand. So they're going to On Deck, the online lender that makes it easy to choose your loan and, if approved, get funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
I need Q1 full index reports to my desk by noon, complete with comprehensive data analysis.
Are you getting any of
this? Charles.
Yeah, Otter's got the meeting notes. I'll ask it for action items in the channel. And Maria already asked for a budget reminder. Smart.
Mom by morning. Got it?
Got it, boss. Otter, you got this.
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors. And in just seconds, you can use the free calculator at abacuspays.com to learn what your policy might be worth.
For many of my clients, selling their life insurance to Abacus was right for them and their estate plan.
Don't sell or lapse your policy without going to abacuspays.com first. There are no fees and no obligations. Get the real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
Welcome back, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. I'm Jose Diaz-Balart. We begin this hour with breaking news. Just moments ago, the Department of Justice Inspector General released a new report finding that the FBI has failed to properly handle allegations of sex crimes against children. Joining us now, NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian and Frank Figluzzi, former FBI Assistant Director for Counterintelligence. He is also an MSNBC national security analyst. So, Ken, good morning. Break down exactly what this report says.
Jose,